Hello, everyone. Today I wanted to make some brief comments about one of the Blu-rays that I purchased in the recent Kino-Lorber March Madness sale. This is a film from 1970, and it is called Puzzle of a Downfall Child, and it stars Faye Dunaway and directed by Jerry Schatzberg. This was released by Kino-Lorber, I think, in December of 2020. It was a movie that wasn't very commercially successful in its own time, barely even got a release in the United States, but was very popular in France and other parts of Europe. It was Jerry Schatzberg's first film. He was a big-time fashion photographer in the 1950s, 60s. He made commercials. He had a relationship with Faye Dunaway in the years leading up to this film. And in real life, the story is of a model and it's a familiar Hollywood story. A young woman gains big success, a model, an actress, and then things go wrong. She gets older, she's aging, she gets hooked on drugs, she's no longer as attractive as she once was. The film was bookended by her recollections. This is, I presume, 1970, looking back into the 1950s. She is visited by a former colleague of hers, a photographer, a young man who in the 1950s was in love with her. She kind of spurns him. He tape records her recollections of her rise and fall, and the movie is bookended with these scenes. And then we see various scenes throughout her life. It's presented in a fragmented, fractured kind of way. It's a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle. We have to try to put the pieces together, come to our own conclusions. It's a fairly ambitious technique for a first-time director, and this was Jerry Schatzberg's first feature film. But it obviously meant a lot to him because he had recorded a model who he had also shot in the 1950s, and then had a precipitous fall in drugs. And these recollections are happening at Faye Dunaway's Long Island beach house. It's isolated, she's reclusive. We get to see various moments in her life. This is certainly not a movie for everyone because of its ambitious narrative structure. It's sort of an experiment. It harkens back to maybe some of Alan Renee's films, Muriel and Hiroshima Mon Amour. And I would also say that it's probably underwritten in the sense that at the end, do we really learn that much about Faye Dunaway's character, Lou, as she's named in the film. Faye Dunaway is so good in the role, though, I'm not sure it matters all that much, but this is a film that I respect a lot more than I could get emotionally involved with. Certainly a film that's worth seeing for Faye Dunaway fans. And Faye Dunaway in 1970 had already made 8 films in a few short years, and she had worked with directors like Arthur Penn, Elia Kazan, Otto Preminger, Vittoria De Sica. But this was a role I think she probably really wanted to play, and you can feel that. She really feels at home. She seems to understand this character, even if we're a little bit perplexed. She seems to understand her. Barry Primus plays the Jerry Schatzberg character, the one who is recording her experiences. Again, underwritten would be a word to describe his role as well. You can't blame him if he seems a bit mopey because that's pretty much the way he's written. Luckily there's Vivia Lindfors, and she's another photographer who befriends Lou, and she is much livelier. Vivica Lindfors is in her cynical, wisecracking mode. I just saw her a couple weeks ago in a film that she made 20 years earlier called Dark City with Charlton Heston. And I was so much impressed by her and this brief scenes that she had with Charlton Heston. It's a very different role 20 years later, and this was a type of role that Vivica Linford would play on TV and different movies going forward. It's also I think the second or third film for Roy Scheider. He's not in the movie very much. He looks really young and healthy looking. I looked him up. He's actually 38 years old when he made this film. And he's still a couple years away from French Connection, and also I guess 4 or 5 years from Jaws. There's a commentary on this film, and it's by Daniel Kremer, who does a lot of different Kino-Lorber commentaries, and also Bill Ackerman. And they have kind of a conversation. They're both head over heels in love with the film, so they're kind of hyperbolic, but they do give you all the necessary or information, at least necessary, that I like to get biographies, backstories, and such. Although, whenever I see a movie that focuses on a female character so intensely as Puzzle of a Downfall Child, I always wonder why they don't put a woman in. If you're going to have two people, put a woman and a man. At least you get the feminine perspective on Lou and the kind of tragedy. It's not really a tragedy, but her decline. I think that would have been nice. So anyways, again, it's a movie that it's not for everyone, and I'm not really trying to recommend it for everybody, but if you like adventurous kind of movie making, if you like Faye Dunaway, I think this is probably something you might want to catch. Puzzle of a Downfall Child. That's about it for this video. I hope you guys take care. Thanks a lot for listening, and I'll catch you next time.